Hi everyone. I wanted to talk today about kind of a new plant I feel like not tons of people know. Um, a Homalomena. So a Homalomena is not like a name that you kind of know and like recognize in the plant community. It's not a Hoya, it's not an alocasia, it's not a pothos, it's not a philodendron. So like whenever Homalomenas come into the shop, people don't really know anything about them. And I just noticed that, like from talking to tons of people, like no one knows what a Homalomena is. And I've gotten in Homalomena emerald gems before. I'll try to put a picture of it somewhere up here. And then I just got in Homalomena rubescens, and that's more of like a little bit of a ruby color on the stem with big shiny leaves, almost like a gloriosum leaf, like the big heart-shaped shiny leaves are gorgeous. I have one of those at home as well. I'll put that up here. It's growing like a weed. But I wanted to kind of just introduce them and break them down because not, like I said, no one really knows anything about them. But I just got these ones in. Just got watered. But this is a Homalomena Selby. So you can kind of see the different colors. Homalomenas are a part of the Araceae family. That's what it's called. But basically, there's like, I don't even know, like 3,000 some plants within that family. But one that is very, very, very similar is an aglaonema. If you've ever had an aglaonema, the care is the exact same, basically. It's kind of a more tolerant light plant. They can kind of go the same distance in between waterings. So they can go like 10 days in between waterings, just like an aglaonema can. Their leaves droop like an aglaonema, and they are just colorful and low maintenance, just like an aglaonema. So I wanted to kind of showcase the family that it's under because if you look at what's all underneath that Araceae family, it's very similar in care to a lot of the ones that you kind of know, like philodendrons and peace lilies, stuff like that. This is not as dramatic as a peace lily. Yes, it droops a little bit when it wants water, but like if anyone's ever had a peace lily, you know how crazy those things can be. So I also want to talk about the light, like we talked about with aglaonemas. They're fairly light tolerant. But these guys are also quite low light tolerant and basically any light tolerance. They can take a little bit extra if you kind of have a sunnier window, but they can also tolerate a little bit lower if you need to put it somewhere a little darker. They are an understory plant, so you don't need to give them the best sunlight in your house. You don't need to give them that rent space. Save that for something else. These guys can kind of tolerate anywhere you want to put them, which to me has been really helpful in my house. The front of my house is filled with plants because it gets the best light, but the back of my house is an addition and it just doesn't get as much light as the front. So aglaonemas and homalomenas has kind of moved to the back of my house because they can tolerate it and they won't give me much sass if I don't give them all the light. So for light, they are a medium-ish light, lower light tolerant, but they will definitely be happy in a bright window. Okay, so next up would be the watering for it. Very, very easy plant to pay attention to the watering, and I'll also kind of give you a large visual when it's thirsty. It will droop very dramatically. All of the leaves will kind of droop over like that. Very similar to a peace lily, like we talked about earlier, where the family that it's in, philodendrons, peace lilies, flowering plants, they tend to that's what they look like when they're really thirsty. They just start to droop. So that's really good for people that are kind of like a visual plant learner and they want something that kind of gives them a sign. That's a sign that they do. They droop when they're really, really thirsty. They don't require any type of special water. No distill. You don't need to worry about distilled or rainwater, whatever. You can just use typical tap water. It's totally fine for them. I will say that they do like a very thorough watering. My watering style of choice is bottom watering, which probably most of you guys know. I bottom water tons of stuff. As long as it will suck up from the bottom, I bottom water it. So mine at home, I sit in a big, I guess a Tupperware, fill it up with a lot of water, set that in and let it suck up for about half an hour, 45 minutes, however long it takes for them to suck it all up. And then it's a very heavy pot and it's very upright and happy, and that's how I know that it's fully watered. So you can water from the top. I don't think it'd be like a huge deal, but they definitely like a thorough watering. So another category that I kind of wanted to break down with them is humidity. They will do perfectly fine in average household humidity, whether that be like 50%-ish, 45% even. If your house isn't humid at all and it's just like really cold, you might want to add a humidifier to it just to help it and keep it a little bit healthier. But overall, they're really pretty tolerant on any humidity conditions, but they would appreciate higher that can be said with almost like any houseplant. The higher humidity, the better. But it can absolutely be just, fine hanging out in your average household humidity. That's nothing to worry about. Homalomenas, though, as cool and pretty as they are toxic plants, along with a lot of other plants, but they are a toxic variety. So please keep them away from, young kids that might like nibble or take a little bite, or your pets. So they're not a pet safe plant, unfortunately. So just try to keep them up if you do want to purchase it and you have animals. Okay, well that's about it, and that kind of covers just like the basic care of homalomenas. Overall, they're much like an aglaonema if you've ever had one of those. They droop when they want water. They can tolerate any light condition in your house, as long as it's not completely like, blacked out, no light at all. And other than that, they're pretty cool. I personally think that they're going to be kind of the more like popular plant in maybe 2023. I'm not really sure why they haven't like taken off as much as they should, because they are really underrated, and I think they deserve more press than what they get. But yeah, if you're interested in the Homalomena Selby, I have 6 of them in the shop right now. So come on by and grab one. They are only $28. All right, thanks for listening.